Ladies and gentlemen, do try and take your seats. Once again, this is a pre-summit investment roundtable, Agenda 2024. Big thanks to the Lagos State government, Investing Lagos, for putting this all together. Also want to recognize all members of the Lagos State Executive Council here present, particularly Honorable Commissioner for Commerce, Cooperatives, Trade and Investment, Mrs. Folashade Ambrose Medebem, who of course will be giving us some opening remarks. Also, members of the body of permanent secretaries here present, with particular mention of the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Commerce, Cooperatives, Trade and Investment, Dr. Olugbemiga Ayola Aina, who will be giving us closing remarks as well. So, do take your seats. There's going to be a lot to look forward to today. I'm particularly excited about the portfolios that will be presented across all swaths of the themes agenda, which I think if you live in Lagos State, you should know the themes agenda by heart. Transportation, health, education, megacity, entertainment, tourism, security. And so each of those portfolios that we're going to be seeing presented towards you today with respect to investing in Lagos will be part of that themes agenda. And I think you all know the numbers, right? The capital importation figures for the first quarter of this year for Nigeria, what, $3.3 billion? 198% year-on-year growth from the first quarter. And Lagos State made up, what, 2.7 billion out of that 3.3, so about 82%. So it makes a lot of sense that Lagos will be putting this together. And once again, this, of course, is in a prelude to the 2024 Africa Social Impact Summit. We'll be kicking off tomorrow and the day after. So we do, of course, are expecting the Executive Governor of Lagos State to join us any moment from now. I have to give a shout-out to my Oga Mr. Abubakar Suleiman, who, of course, is the Managing Director at Sterling Bank. We've seen a number of other dignitaries that are here with us as well. So it promises to be very, very interactive and very exciting as well. So in just a moment, of course, the Executive Governor will be joining us. So do get comfortable. There's a whole lot to look forward to today.
Station for 3 minutes. Thereafter, it will move to Orile Station. Thereafter, it will move to Alaba Station. And thereafter, it will move to Mile 2 Terminal Station, where we're going to disembark. You will need to use your turnstile and come out of the train, and the train will turn if you want to come on the return journey from Mile 2 all the way, stopping to get back to Marina.
for infinity. Well, darling, my soul, you know it aches for yours, and you've been filling this hole since you were born. Oh.
Your own governor, my own governor, indeed our own governor, a man that is sellable, but we will not trade him for anything.
It's with great pleasure that I welcome you all to the formal commissioning of the reconstructed and upgraded stretch of the Etiosa-Lekki Ekpe Expressway from Eleko Junction to Ekpeti Junction, as well as the flag off for the second phase of the project from Eleko to Ibam Adesoya.
The commissioning of this Eleko Ekpe Road be the phase 1 of the Lekki Ekpe Expressway by His Excellency Mr. Babajide Olushola Sanwo-Olu, the Executive Governor of Lagos State, is a blessing to this local government and its people, and a further confirmation that we are not forgotten in this axis.
Mr. Governor, sir, I slept over that Lagos is rising. I tried to define it. And my definition is this: truly Lagos is rising. And I will start from my own Etiosa. Mr. Governor, sir, just January 1st, 2023, you gave us a gift. You said that you announced, and you said we will build, we will construct 4th Mainland Bridge.
Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, all we can just say is thank you. To us, that project alone, sir, has actually transformed Ibeju-Lekki.
Today we come to bear witness once again to the power of ideas and visionary leadership.
You can see excitement within our citizens. You can see excitement in our local community, because this is a government that says a thing and it keeps to its promise. And so in November 2020, we said we're going to reconstruct completely this 18.75 kilometer road. And today, we're thankful to God because we have transformed from a 2-lane rural road to a 6-lane rigid concrete road with full complement of all of the road infrastructure, including street lights with drainage complements. And this, we can say, is one of the best roads that you can see in any part of this country.
I tried so hard and got so far.
amazing. In fact, it's awesome. I want to use the opportunity to thank the Lagos State Governor for bringing this brilliant idea. And then most importantly, the Commissioner for Agriculture, Honorable Abisola Olusoya.
The markets had been a big relief to everyone. To all the class, it has truly helped. You can buy what you want at reasonable price and at affordable price.
It's actually cheap compared to what you get outside. It's cheaper.
Wow, I'm really excited. This I came with.
Vanilla fresh fish, smoked, except you don't eat. And you know food is life.
It's so nice. This is a very good initiative from the Lagos State Governor. It has given birth to a lot of employment. It has been a wonderful experience. We want to thank the Lagos State Government. Did awesome.
Country, we're having fresh fruit all around.
The quality of the food and the fruits very fresh. I think I'll be back again.
Your Excellency, the performing Governor of Lagos State, the silent achiever, the one we call sellable, and the man who has actualized the dreams of Lagosians, Dr. Babajide Olusola Sanwo-Olu.
I want to thank you very much for believing in us, for supporting us, and for ensuring that this sector, we thank all the management staff of LASWA, thank all of our rescue drivers, and all of the people that are doing the great things on our waterways. And so we are commissioning newly established search and rescue units that will be responsible for patrolling and enforcing our waterways rules and regulations. We are also handing over 2 additional patrol boats to enhance safety and security for the waterways. But not only doing that, we're enhancing gadgets such as DJI, aerial drone, blue eye drone for waterways search and rescue. And we're also launching the USAFE rescue gadget. We're also commissioning the first-in-kind waterways monitoring and data management center.
I'm honored to welcome you to the launch of a new fleet of ferries manufactured in Lagos. This event not only signifies a significant step in our efforts to improve inland waterways transportation, but also promises to enhance the daily transit experience for our residents, making their journeys safer, faster, and more comfortable.
The Omnibus Ferries project is not just about improving transportation, it's about transforming how we live and move. To reduce the usage of cars on the road, thereby create
I can confidently say, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, that the commissioning of this impactful and landscape-enhancing transportation project would not have been possible if not for that vision. Mr. President, thank you very much.
Today, I think that is a good day, happy day. We are in the auspicious atmosphere.
The railway infrastructure stands as a shining example of what can be achieved when federal and subnational government unite in a shared vision for progress.
For the first time in the history of Lagos, we have a system comprising and integrating 3 modes of transportation. The road, which is the BRT that we're using, the rail, which is the rail mass transit program, and the waterways through the statewide ferry service.
I am delighted as we inaugurate the first phase of the Red Line. We cannot afford to rest on our oars. There's much work still to be done at national and subnational level. and no room for complacency. Let me again here commend the Lagos State government under Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu for the giant strike.
There he is, Executive Governor of Lagos State, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Babajide Olusola Sanwo-Olu. You're welcome, sir. Thank you so much for joining us. Consider our events kick-started. Mr. Governor, you're welcome. Yes, indeed. You're warm welcome, sir. Mr. Governor, you're welcome, sir. You're very welcome. All right, we're going to be taking the national, great thing that everybody's standing to welcome the governor, because we're going to go into our national anthem. So please, the national anthem.
Nigerians old and proud to serve our sovereign motherland. Our flag shall be a symbol that truth and justice reign. In peace all battle honored, and this we count as gain. To hand unto our children a banner without stain. O God of all creation, grant this our warm request. Help us to build a nation where no man is oppressed, and so with peace and plenty Nigeria may be blessed.
Ladies and gentlemen, you may be seated. It's always so embarrassing for me to be standing on stage. Everybody can say I'm not singing the anthem yet. I'm going to learn it, I promise. I'm going to learn it. You may be seated. You're very welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the pre-summit investment roundtable agenda 2024. Of course, put together by the great state of Lagos along with partnership with One Foundation, Alethea, and ETK. My name is Rodis Odiri. I host a global business report on Arise News, and I love talking about investments. Do have to go through the protocol, of course, as we've already welcomed Executive Governor of Lagos State, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, Deputy Governor of Lagos State, Dr. Kadri Obafemi Hamzat, Your Excellencies, Ambassadors, High Commissioners, Consul Generals, and Heads of Diplomatic Missions, all members of the Lagos State Executive Council here present, particularly the Honorable Commissioner for Commerce, Cooperatives, Trade and Investment, Mrs. Folashade Ambrose Medebem, who will be kicking things off before we get to our portfolio presentations. Members of the members of the body of permanent secretaries here present, particularly mention of the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Commerce, Cooperatives, Trade and Investment, Dr. Olugbemiga Ayola Aina. Of course, our dear partners, starting with, of course, the One Foundation, ETK, and, of course, Alethea Capital. So, a whole lot to get into. If you flip the other side of your flyer, you will see the sectors in focus. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get things started. A warm round of applause for the Ministry, the Honorable Commissioner for the Ministry of Commerce, Cooperatives, Trade and Investment, Mrs. Folashade Ambrose Medebem. Please keep the applause going. There's a whole lot to get into today.
Sorry, I wasn't. Thank you very much. Thank you. Good morning. Good morning, Mr. Governor, Mr. Babajide Olushola Sanwo-Olu, the Deputy Governor of Lagos State, Dr. Kadri Obafemi Hamzat, Your Excellencies, Ambassadors, High Commissioners, Consul Generals, and Heads of Diplomatic Missions, all members here present of the Lagos State Executive Council, members of the body of permanent secretaries here present, with particular mention of the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Commerce, Cooperatives, Trade and Investment, Dr. Olugbemiga Ayola Aina. our dear partners, starting with the Chief Executive Officer of Sterling One Foundation, Mrs. Kweju Ibekwe, the CEO and Managing Director of Sterling One Bank, our dear partners, the Managing Director of ETK, Mrs. Bolaji Sofoluwe, the Chief Operating Officer, Alithia Capital, Mrs. Yewande Adewusi, other invited speakers and their representatives, President and leaders of the National Bilateral and Multilateral Chambers of Commerce, distinguished investors, captains of industries and business leaders here present, leaders and representatives of the business membership organizations, BMO, top government functionaries, heads of agencies, management and staff of the Ministry of Commerce, Cooperatives, Trade and Investment, distinguished guests, gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen. It is a profound honor and privilege to welcome you all to the esteemed inaugural Lagos Investment Roundtable. Our gathering here is a platform to harmonize the respective visions and targets, agreeing on the key actions that will not only strengthen existing investments, partnerships, but also initiate new ones. Lagos State has firmly established itself as Nigeria's economic epicenter and a leading hub of innovation in Africa. Our economy is vibrant and diverse, driven by sectors such as technology, entertainment, finance, and manufacturing. With over 500 startups, Lagos attracts more than half of Nigeria's startup investments. The proposed Lagos Innovation Bill aims to further enhance this ecosystem by providing a comprehensive framework that supports research institutions, offers tax incentives, and fosters collaboration between startups and large corporations. Despite the macroeconomic challenges we're all facing, like currency fluctuations, inflation, and economic headwinds, Lagos has demonstrated remarkable resilience. The state government remains committed. Lagos State is Nigeria's commercial nerve center, a beacon of economic activity driven by commitment to fostering a conducive environment for businesses and investment. Despite being the smallest by landmass, Lagos boasts a population of approximately 24 million people, making it the most populous state of the country. Lagos is a powerhouse, contributing more than 30% of Nigeria's GDP. Under Mr. Babajide Olushola's leadership, the GDP of Lagos State grew from 27 trillion to 41. Can we give that a round of applause? I think that's an outstanding achievement. Lagos has made and continues to make significant strides in diversifying its economy with strategic investments across various sectors. The state allocated 550 billion for infrastructural development in 2024, representing 24.28% of the budget. This investment targets ongoing transportation projects, including rail network expansion, road construction, and the completion of the Blue and Red Line rail. The state's commitment to infrastructure extends to affordable housing as well, and urban renewable projects. Aimed at addressing the housing deficit, significant funds have been allocated to social housing projects. Lagos is also steadfastly focused on agriculture as a cornerstone of its economic diversification strategy. The state has committed 44.3 billion to food security initiatives. In terms of human capital development, Lagos has allocated significant resources to education and healthcare, reflected accordingly also in the budget for the education sector. The state's economic plan also includes developing the Lekki Free Trade Zone, which has attracted over 116 investors. This zone is designed to be a multi-use facility, promoting industry, manufacturing, residential development, and tourism, with incentives such as tax holidays and 100% ownership retention for investors. This is Lagos. under Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu and Deputy Governor Dr. Kadri Obafemi Hamzat's visionary leadership, Lagos State has made commendable progress in creating a business-friendly environment. The government has implemented several reforms aimed at streamlining processes, improving regulatory procedures, and reducing bureaucratic bottlenecks, and promoting entrepreneurship. These efforts have significantly enhanced the ease of doing business in Lagos, making it possible to start a business in just 28 days. The administration has also prioritized infrastructural development as the foundation for economic growth. Projects such as the Red and Blue Line rails have improved connectivity, just to mention a few. The Lekki Free Zone covers an area of 850 hectares and is home to the recently built 90 Lekki Deep Sea Port. Fiscal incentives, operational support, and a streamlined business environment. Since its establishment, the Lekki Free Zone has attracted over $2.5 billion from various investors. Yes, please applause. Underscoring its potential as a major industrial and logistics hub in West Africa. Because Lagos State continues to lead in promoting the ease of doing business, positioning itself as the global city and an emerging Africa financial center. The state's action on business-enabling reforms has successfully met all the parameters set out in the criteria for a first phase of the World Bank. The Sanwo-Olu administration has made significant strides also in the power sector. The Lagos State Electoral Power Sector Reform Law is being introduced, and through that we'll also be embedding the power scheme, which aims to improve electricity generation and distribution within the state. So as we reflect on the discussion and insights shared at today's Lagos Investment Roundtable, it is clear that Lagos State stands at a pivotal juncture in its economic journey. Lagos economic diversification in all the residents of Lagos. Thank you for your attention. I wish you all a fruitful participation. Igbega, Ìpínlẹ̀ Èkó, Àjùmọ̀ṣe. Thank you.
Warm round of applause for a great opening remarks there. And of course, as I mentioned, this is all part of the Teams Plus agenda. Of course, transportation, health, environment, education, technology, megacity, entertainment, tourism, security, and of course the plus, gender inclusion, youth development. So everything that you're about to see in terms of the presentations for the sectors for investment are all under that umbrella. All right, so we've got a number of honorable commissioners that are going to be making presentations with respect to their portfolios, which is, of course, of interest to our investments and the wider global community. So we are going to begin with arts, culture, and tourism. Yes, indeed. And that, of course, is going to be put forward by Mrs. Toke Benson Awuinka. Round of applause. Okay, before we begin, ladies and gentlemen, please, when the governor speaks, you listen. A round of applause for the managing director of Sterling Bank, Mr. Abubakar Suleiman. He's going to give some remarks before we get into the portfolio presentation. I've had the honor of interviewing him on my show.
Mr. Governor, Deputy Governor, Mr. Governor said I should speak for 2 minutes, so you would pardon me if I stand on existing protocol. I'm going to start by saying, this is Lagos. When I heard that, it had deep meaning for those of us who live and work here. If you don't live in Lagos or work in Lagos, you probably don't understand what it means. Came from Lagos. So we thought to ourselves, let's bring it home. And so we brought it home and it was incredibly successful. The reason we host the summit, which is the foundation for this engagement today, it's that Africa is suffering a crisis of trust. It is not a lack of money, it's not a lack of intelligence, not a lack of opportunity, it is a lack of trust. It is because of trust that we take our resources abroad, we send our children abroad, we take our investment abroad. It's also the absence of trust that meant that investors like yourselves think twice before coming here. Our objective is to convene so that people can have a conversation that will rebuild trust. And as a financial institution, we thought that was the best thing we could do. Lagos has done a couple of things very well. One of the best document that the government has produced that I have read, I say one, but it's produced frequently, is a Ehingbeti summary. Whenever we have that event and the document comes out, I encourage anyone who is interested in Nigeria, not just Lagos, to read the document. And they've been truthful to that document. In that regard, Lagos provides clarity. The second thing that Lagos does, and does incredibly well, is that Lagos communicates. If you're out there on social media, just follow Mr. Governor's handle and follow the handles of the various agencies of Lagos State. You'll be amazed at how well they communicate. Of course, the third thing, which is what we are hoping to partner with Lagos, so people that matter, and they talk to them and they listen to them. And so we are here, hopefully, as co-convener with Lagos State on a long-term basis. And of course, Mr. Governor, I believe that Lagos secret, the secret sauce for Lagos State has been consistency. There's nothing secret about that. I think this is the one state that for over 20 years has been consistent in what it says and what it does. So thank you very much, Mr. Governor. And like the summit itself says, he didn't say come and talk, he says invest in Lagos. So let's invest in Lagos. Thank you.
Please keep the applause going for Mr. Abubakar Suleiman, MD CEO, Sterling Bank. All right. Mr. Governor, we can now start with the portfolio. Okay, we can start with the portfolios now. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm round of applause. And this ties into how Lagos State handled the COVID pandemic. You remembered how our governor, on the almost daily basis, giving us updates, and they did an excellent job handling the COVID pandemic. And we're about to hear about the investment opportunities in healthcare, which again, remember, part of the Teams Plus agenda.
Mr. Governor, Mr. Deputy Governor, fellow colleagues in the Executive Council, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, investors, potential investors. My slides, please. And I think I just want to carry on the sentiments of the CEO of Sterling Bank, who just talked about trust. And I think one of the things that we did very well during COVID was, as you say, we communicated regularly, but we also built trust between the public and the government. And that trust was very important to stabilize the way the public responded to the outbreak. Not to abandon ship and everybody scatter all over the world or shut down shop. We worked very well with the diplomatic corps, having regular meetings every week to stop various opportunities for direct investment into Lagos from slowing down. As a result of that, the economy kept ticking over, despite a global pandemic that was affecting every economic opportunity across the globe. So what I'm going to talk to you here about is an example of opportunities in the health sector for the investors and various types of investors that we have in Lagos, or opportunities that we have for investments. And I think we're trying to get my slides up. So let me carry on talking. So leading on from the Ehingbeti, we had in 2022 what we call the Lagos State Development Plan, which was a consequence of multiple successive Ehingbetis in Lagos. And that Lagos State Development Plan is a 30-year development plan for Lagos up to 2052. So it was done in 2022 in the last political dispensation. And it was a cumulative summary of all the aimbetis that had been going on over time. That document is online. It's called the LSDP 2052. And inside there is the mandate for each and every ministry, directorate, and agency as a result of consistent interactions between government and the private sector. So I'm going to be focusing on the health aspect, and here are my slides. That is the Lagos State Development Plan, geared towards achieving the goal of stated in the plan. Next slide, please. So this slide talks towards improved healthcare outcomes and inbound medical tourism, and that's the Lagos State Ministry of Health performance KPI in the Lagos State Development Plan. So the first green circle there speaks about universal healthcare coverage, essentially. And universal healthcare coverage is what the responsibility of the state is to make sure that our citizens have access to quality, affordable healthcare. Sorry, go back one slide. The blue circle speaks towards medical tourism, inbound medical tourism. Now, we're already beginning to build a reputation in Lagos as, in a recent poll, Lagos was the 8th best place to come to in Africa to receive medical tourism. And medical tourism depends on trust, as my friend Abubakar just said. We need to be able to build that trust that the service you're going to get in Lagos is going to be equivalent to what you might get in Dubai, Saudi Arabia, South Africa, or Europe. Next slide. So this is how it works. In the public sector, we initiate projects. We are the regulators, and of course, we're the public protectors. And then the public sector initiates and monitors, and then we have that interface with the private sector, what we call the PPP. And in that private sector, we're looking for key issues. We're looking for technical capability, we're looking for co-funding, and we're looking for management and support. So that interface between public and private is that definition for us in health of the PPP model. Next slide. So we've got I'm going to talk about the medical diagnostic and service provision scheme. Essentially, this is a shift from the traditional asset acquisition by the state to one of a shared public-private sector risk management and responsibility. So the next slide will speak to the components of MDSP. So basically, we're looking at an opportunity where we have got development of proficient health workforce, facilitation of in-state processing. A lot of the diagnostics that we do in Lagos, many of it are not done in the public sector, some are done in the private sector, and some are done outside of the country. So we want to be able to reverse that process so that we're doing everything state-of-the-art in Lagos, and utilization of the scheme to reduce overall healthcare costs to our citizens. Next slide, please. So there are various parameters that we're looking at. We want to be able to enhance healthcare infrastructure to provide state-of-the-art diagnostics, reduce our indices. Infant is vulnerable to biological shocks, as we know. Mitigate the brain drain. We're trying to slow down the interest in our healthcare professionals to go into where the grass is greener. Medical diagnostic service provision. The first circle there in green is looking at a greenfield project, and we have examples of that in the state. The one I'm going to refer to later in the presentation is the Comprehensive Cancer Center. Then in B, in orange there, we have equipment and service provision. So we have our hospitals and our facilities across the state, and we want to enter into PPPs with them to provide some of the services within that facility and outsource that to the private sector to enhance quality of service. And then C there is basically a complete building that the state owns, one of the state assets that we want to concession out to the private sector for specialized assets, And we have a few examples, of that in Lagos State. Next slide. So some of it speaks towards bulk purchasing and economies of scale. Because if we're dealing with the private sector and we know in general what the bulk capacity of the state is, we can put that together into an economy of scale model. Next slide, please. Comprehensive Cancer and Diagnostic Institute, and then what we call the Lagos State One Laboratory Project. Next slide, please. Tier C or L3 is the secondary healthcare facilities. Tier C or L3 is the secondary healthcare facilities, and Tier D is the L4. Now you want to have a system whereby, and Tier D is the L4. Now you want to have a system whereby you're doing basic investigations at the lowest tier, and the complexity of the investigation starts to increase as you move up the size of the medical facility until you reach the apex. So in Lagos, we would like to create a cluster of one laboratory systems where there is a relationship between an original equipment manufacturer and a service provider to ensure that there's an efficient approach to deploying laboratory services across the state in our public health facilities. So you might imagine that there might be, say, 5 to 6 partnerships between original equipment manufacturers and their service providers that are deployed into our public health facilities, running a complexity of laboratory tests that increases as you move up the chain of facilities that we have in Lagos. Next slide. This creates a very large opportunity for cost saving, for bulk purchasing, and introducing sophisticated tests into our public health facilities. So it won't be one laboratory, it will be a group of original equipment manufacturers with their service providers. We've already seen a lot of interest in this in the state, and we'll be able to dramatically increase the quality of diagnostic testing with a tiered structure across our facilities in Lagos. So basically, the investment opportunities are here, outlined. We're looking for developmental funding, developmental funding, impact funding, equity investment, angel investments, and grants. And on that note, I'd like to end my presentation. So, Mr. Governor has just instructed me to speak about the new the executive order around the mandatory nature of social health insurance. So in 2022, we recall that the President Muhammadu Buhari legislated that social health insurance is now mandatory in Nigeria. And what we've done in Lagos about a week ago, Mr. Governor just signed the domestication of that in an executive order, which says that if you live in Lagos, you're breathing our economic power air in Lagos, you're enjoying the assets of Lagos, then your responsibility is to have in your pocket a social health insurance scheme from Ilera Eco. If you already have private health insurance, that's fine. We will embed the Ilera Eco into your private health plan, and it just represents Ilera Eco plus a top-up. But if you don't, no matter what you are, whether you are working, not working, you are in the formal or informal sector, the executive order states that you must own social health insurance. This is a very innovative way of introducing blended health financing into the health sector. It will help us in a tremendous way to push financing into the system and to secure to the state social safety nets around health. So if you carry the social health insurance in your pocket, it covers you for a base minimum service package that includes almost 80% of what you would ever want if you went into a health facility free of charge. Additional expenses may come out of pocket. Let's say you're going for cancer treatment or you're going for something more sophisticated, then you can pay out of pocket or you can top up with a private health insurance. But the main thing is that everybody should have social health insurance, Ilera Eco, either on its own or part of a private plan, and that creates a social safety net network for everybody in Lagos, so that you're now immune to the increasing cost of drugs, increasing cost of laboratory tests, increasing costs of consultations, because that package covers a minimum service package that guarantees universal healthcare coverage and helps government by injecting pooled funding into the health sector, that we can improve across the sector, both in public and private, the standard of healthcare delivery in Lagos.
Is the second largest industry, is Nigeria's financial powerhouse, contributing significantly to the country's GDP. It's a major financial center in Africa. Tourism is part of the Lagos State Themes agenda, and the governor has continued to position the state as a global tourism destination through various initiatives. Considering that the state is the entertainment nerve center of Nigeria, the Lagos State Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture has provided support over the years for the creative industry through programs in partnership with the Ebony Life Academy, Del York and Ogidi Studios. Lagos State government has just completed a groundbreaking ceremony for the Lagos Film City, which will sit on 100 hectares of land in the historical city of Ejinrin in Ekpe. It's a creative ecosystem that will provide, not only captivates travelers such as sun-kissed shores and pristine water, and our vision is to transform into a global beach destination. There is a Nigeria and services to the people. We also have the preservation of our heritage sites. Lagos is steeped in heritage sites such as the Freedom Park, the Shigbon Eredo in Ekpe, located in strategic.
So let's give a warm round of applause for the Honorable Commissioner for Ministry of Innovation, Science and Technology, Tubosun Alake. He's going to be talking. And that, of course, one of the main thrusts of the presentation for the Ministry of Innovation, Science and Technology is going to be the hub in Yaba. And of course, you know, as has already been said at the beginning of the presentation, Lagos State accounts for more than 60% of the startup funds that have come into the state.
Are you ready? People, are you ready?
Okay, we're going to move right along to energy, which is a very, very important sector. So please, a warm round of applause for Mr. Biodun Ogunleye as he comes up to talk about the energy sector and mineral resources as well.
It's still morning out here. Permit me to stand on existing protocols. I'm Biodun Ogunleye. I am currently leading Lagos State Government Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources, and I have the singular honor of leading Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu's initiative in providing Lagos with a clean Lagos electricity market. So I'll talk to you briefly and quickly about some things we can disclose right now about what is upcoming. The first thing I want to assure you of is that if without 40–50% availability, we have achieved so much growth, we are in for very interesting times the next few days. My slides are up so that, my slides? Okay, next slide. The Lagos electricity market will be largely made up of the two most profitable distribution companies in the national wholesale market as at today. My colleagues normally call me 50 by 60, and that is simply because as at today, we currently take over 50% of the energy available on the national wholesale market, and we pay more than 60% of the revenue available to the national wholesale market. Combined together within the next 2 years, on a bulk pack basis, we expect to see more business units. The minimum you will see will be about 34. We expect customer population to grow. Currently, they put it at below 2 million. We expect it to grow to 2 million. And the greatest and the most lovely part about our law is that all those customers must be metered for them to be called metered. Please neglect that. Okay, there will be 0 unmetered customers on the Lagos electricity market. And all our meters will communicate. They will be able, we can track losses and we can deal with all issues. Currently, there are about 29 transmission substations. The transmission network, Transmission Company of Nigeria is working on 5 new ones. Lagos will be adding some more 32 by 33 to that, and we expect to see also growth even in the length of the 415 line. We're expecting to also see growth even in overall capacity that is available for transmission and distribution. But the big news, the one I can disclose right now, is that we are putting together an integrated resource plan that will be committing us to ensuring that over the next 2 years, about 1 gigawatt of renewables are deployed on the Lagos electricity market. And that will include 800 megawatts of grid-connected solar facilities. The balance of that will come from waste to energy. We are putting together 2 gigawatts of embedded gas-fired infrastructure. The gas-fired infrastructure will be possible on account of the various tweaks we are going to be effecting on the gas supply chain. And I can assure you that one of the first questions people normally ask me is that where would these facilities be? Lagos has no land. I'm sure you know that the Dangote site, the Dangote refinery site, was an unknown place for several years in time past. But today has become a tourist site. Everybody wants to go and see what is happening. Shortly, we have some locations already identified as far back as 3-4 years ago. We have identified more sites, and we are ready to deploy these new facilities. We have, next slide, I'm already on the third slide. The third slide with pictures of sites. Okay. I'm on the last slide now. I'm on the last slide now. The transmission infrastructure development plan is coming up with new substations at 5 locations. The 5 locations are at Badagry, Alakotomeji, Okeorison at Epe, the Free Trade Zone, and Otumara in Ebutemeta, and Okunraye in Ibeju. To take maximum advantage of these locations, we are co-locating near them what we call energy hubs. The energy hubs are locations where generation facilities and energy facilities are co-located. So you have repair workshops, you have servicing workshop, you have operation workshop, you have warehousing. The reason why this should happen is that the location will have been pre-approved for these operations to take place. And it will take a less time for people to get to the market. I know of a particular development that spent about $2 million in setting up their power assets somewhere in another location in Nigeria. So you can come in at near zero setup cost and do your business. And you are going to be very close to where the grid has been planned to pass through, and you will have the best of facility. I can say to you that we have everything in place for EOIs to start coming in for both both renewables and embedded gas-fired assets. Shortly, as soon as Mr. Governor sign off on the law, we will be able to talk more about what will happen on the distribution and the retailing end of the business. Thank you very much.
Please keep the applause going. Energy Commissioner for Energy, Mineral Resources. Okay, we're going to keep moving right along. I think we're now going to go back, get our presentation from LAMATA, the Lagos Metropolitan Area Transport Authority. And this is, of course, we said we were going to hear from the engineer, Abimbola Akinyajo, but she's going to be represented by Kemi Williams, who's the head of investments at LAMATA. Round of applause.
Stand up and fight. It's all right, all right, all right.
And here she is. Round of applause, please. All right.
Good morning, everyone. Mr. Governor, Deputy Governor, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kemi Aleshnoyo Williams. I drive investment interest at LAMATA, and I'll be giving the presentation today on behalf of the Managing Director, Engineer Abimbola Akinyajo. The outline is up. I will be taking you very quickly through the Lagos Transportation Profile, our Strategic Transport Master Plan, what our integrated public transport profile looks like today, the Lagos Blue Line, which is our pioneer rail line in Lagos, which I know is exciting for everyone, the journey so far, and what the investment opportunities are, and transportation profile for 2032, which is the time frame of our current Lagos Strategic Transport Master Plan, and then benefits, obviously, for the benefit of our investors in the room, of investing in sustainable urban transport projects. Next slide, please. Our profile, our transportation profile in Lagos State today, average trip length by public transport, either our bus, mostly our bus, because largely our transportation is by road, is 9 kilometers. Average trip length by car is 12 kilometers. Proportion of vehicles with petrol, diesel is 85%, which is quite high when we think about our efforts towards net zero emissions, etc. Car ownership is growing as well, which contributes to congestion. 90% of all our trips are by road, like I said. Transport, private cars, are regulated bus services, and as we know, urban transportation is actually the third largest contributor to greenhouse gas emissions in the state. So when you look at the mode, sorry, go back please. When you look at our mode share, which is 2013, but currently speaks to the situation now, we have BRT at 2%, regulated bus services, waterways at 2% currently, but will grow as we know huge investments are being made towards LASWA and the Omieko project, and rail currently at 1% because we are still in infancy when we look at our rail projects. Next slide, please. Lagos Strategic Transport Master Plan is the document that informs all our projects that we implement in Lagos State and LAMATA. Of course, the custodian of that document is the Ministry of Transportation, and I believe our HC is here, our Honorable Commissioner is here. So that plan speaks to 6 rail lines, 1 monorail line, 14 BRT routes, 14 quality bus corridors, which is not on here. We have cable car routes as well, and over 20 water routes, which we work very closely with LASWA to implement. We plan for waterways, but we don't implement. LASWA does that. And when you look at our bus reform program as well, we plan to inject over 15,000 buses into the network, bus assembly plants, as well as multiple bus shelters and terminals. Next slide, please. This is just showing what our existing integrated public transport network looks like today. And of course, that encompasses rail, bus, and proposed plans for both regulated bus and rail services as well. Next, please. Lagos Blue Line, very quickly, the journey so far. The entire line will be 27 kilometers, but we currently have implemented phase 1, which is Marina to Mile 2. I imagine a lot of you have taken a ride on that. We started passenger operations in September of 2023 last year. Started with 13 trips. We've graduated to 54. And our first train departs at 6:30 and last at 9 p.m. Journey time is 25 minutes between Marina Station and Mile 2. And we have interchange services existing and planned between those two stations. Currently, today, we've moved approximately 1.5 million people using the Cowrie card system. The Cowrie card is our integrated payment ticketing system that we've deployed across regulated public transport services, which is the waterways, the rail, and the bus. So one card, unfortunately, I don't have mine here, but one card, you're able to make payments across those different modes, which is fantastic. This is just showing you the blue line map between Marina and Okukumaiko. Currently, we've implemented between Marina and Mile 2, and then phase 2 will be Festac all the way to Okukumaiko. Next, please. Investment opportunities very quickly. I know we're short of time. For the blue line, as I said, we've implemented phase 1. So the opportunity we see here, and we were strongly inviting the private sector to work with us on, is a concession opportunity to essentially look at an operations and maintenance concession. So 8-kilometer rail line from Marina to Lekki Free Trade Zone. So it will be integrating with the blue line at Marina. And the project involves infrastructure, construction, electrified rail lines. All our proposed rail lines, blue, green, purple, the works will all be electrified as we strongly move towards reducing greenhouse gas emissions in Lagos State. The green line is expected to move over 300,000 passengers per day, and the investment opportunity here is PPP, public partnerships, build, operate, transfer, whatever we feel, obviously as a state led by the governor, is most beneficial mutually for the state and the private sector. That's just showing a map of the blue line alignment. Next, please. Purple line, 60-kilometer rail line from Redeemed Camp in Ogun State to Ojo. So this is one of the areas where we collaborate strongly with our sister locations, Ogun State. And this rail line is one of the ones that will do that. Again, construction of infrastructure, electrified rail lines, and 16 stations, moving over 300,000 passengers per day. The purple line demonstrates very strongly integration, which we're big on for public transportation. And as you can see here, there's integration with the red line at Agege Station, with the blue at Lasu Station, with the yellow line at Yanakwaja and Isheri Osun, and of course with all our regulated bus services, the ferry and other feeder services along the corridor, and that's just the map showing what the alignment is. Next, please. Waste to Fuel initiative is one that is very dear to our heart. Of course, we work very closely with LOMA, who are the ones that hold the waste. With this initiative, we've collaborated with the Sweden, the business and investment arm, to fund a 10-month study on alternative fuel assessment. Is a feasibility study which will be completed this July, is run its course. And very quickly, the study objectives is just about reviewing the availability of potential production of biofuels in Lagos and in Nigeria, a comparative analysis of which of these fuels is best suited for, one, public transportation, but other sectors who might be able to take implementation strategy roadmap. And very quickly, preliminary findings have shown the clusters that will be producing this biogas. So therefore, we can then use it in our public transportation, agriculture, whatever you can think of that needs to be powered by fuel, especially when you think of the cost of diesel. Is key for us. About 4 or 5 years ago, the state invested heavily in high-capacity buses, but what we are looking at now is to inject cleaner energy buses into our network. We are able to accommodate 15 to 20,000 of those, and of course, additional rolling stock as well for both rail and bus. Next, please. Our BRT system as well, which you may have seen on the road, we're looking to extend that from Abule Egba to Songwater. Of course, that would involve the segregated lanes, the medians, the bus stops, the terminals, same for Oronshoki and Apapa. And of course, we are trying to capacity movement in our buses is key for us, and of course, the rail as well. Next, please. Interstate megabus terminals. In periphery of the city in Ogun State, in Songo, Odogunyo, Ekwe, for those locations, and we are encouraging the private sector to work with us to build those. Next, please. This is just showing our projected transportation profile, what it would look like in 2032 when the rail, blue, red, green, purple, work with us to build those. Next, please. This is just showing our projected transportation profile, what it would look like in 2032 when the rail, blue, red, green, purple lines are all working. We'll have a much bigger share for rail, more buses that will be in operation, and car ownership as well we expect to rise. Next slide, please, and I believe that should be my last slide. Benefits of investing in sustainable urban transport projects for our investors in the room, improved health and well-being of our residents. When we think about the Sustainable Development Goals, that is number one, and that is essentially what we want to do. When you're able to get from A to B quicker, comfortably, you feel well, improve journey times, reduce GHG emissions, as I mentioned before, reduce traffic congestion, improvement in commercial and economic activities. Transport is the hub of any nation. You have to get from A to B. Supporting transport-oriented development, strategic economic development, multimodal integration, and reduce pressure on our roads. And I believe that is all. Thank you so much for your time and for your trust.
Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Lagos State is so robust. There's so much going on. Infrastructure is up next. Special Advisor on Infrastructure, Engineer Olufemi Daramola, please, to the stage to come and tell us all about the infrastructure plans. Here he is. A round of applause, please. A round of applause.
Good afternoon, Mr. Governor, Mr. Deputy Governor. Permit me to stand on the well-established protocol. Our would-be investors. The state is desirous of aggressively investing in sustainable infrastructure with a view to becoming one of the world's most competitive megacities. The state understands that connectivity, alternative travel options are at best and at the heart of a functioning megacity. Investment in transportation infrastructure therefore represents a transformation step towards alleviating urban congestion, enhancing transport efficiency, and fostering international trade and economic growth. The state is presenting some investable opportunities in the traffic management and transportation sector. At this point, I must first mention that the opportunities in Lagos are so much, they vary from one local government, one axis to another. However, I would like to, for the sake of this time, which is very short, I would like to draw our attention to Lekki. Let's all look back and appreciate that Lekki is a major growing economic hub in Lagos. It is located at the eastern part. Presently, we have quite a number of investments there. We have the Lekki Free Trade Zone, we have the Dangote Refinery, we have the Lekki Deep Sea Port, we have the Eco Atlantic City, technology and innovation hubs, and real estate development. The developments in that axis cannot go unnoticed. However, it's an opportunity to also explain that while before now the state was very proactive to commence some projects in that axis, which is now a very big plus. One of those projects is the Lekki-Ekpe Expressway. That project is going to help us move trade and materials all the way, and we have other alternatives to go out of Lagos, not necessarily coming all the way down. And if we have to do, we have access from the Ekpeti Junction to Shagamu, etc. The sketch that is here is just a reflection of how much interest is there right now. We have the Lekki Free Trade Zone, we have the Eleko Fertilizer, we have the coastal road that is ongoing now. And in order for us to drive the business, make it attractive to you, we have to continuously look for alternative road network to reduce travel time and to boost trade and commerce. I would like to draw your attention to one of the opportunities that avails us in that axis. Presently, the state has commenced a project which is the Omo Creek Highway project. It might interest you to know that despite all the developments in that area, and everybody knows that Lagos is somewhere that everybody just wants to come into. We don't have borders, we can't stop people, but we need to continuously be resilient to take charge. So what is happening now is at that axis as well, with all the developments going on, the state has recognized the Omo Creek Highway project. It's a link road at Songotedo, which is going to connect that area. But the most important thing about it is going to open there's a vast untapped land in that area, about 20,000 hectares. It's going to open that place to economic growth. So, investors, the project has started, the phase 1 is ongoing, but we have a phase 2 because it's a 5.1 kilometer road, and we would be interested in having further discussions to open up that axis. It's a new town where we can have lots of development, tourism. It's a new town and it's open to investment. However, the infrastructure to facilitate it, to drive it, is a key factor. I want to mention as well that apart from this, which is just one of the many major projects that we have and that we are inviting you to come into, to come and partner with us, on our road maintenance program, because of the volatility in the foreign exchange and the fluctuation effects we have, we are looking at other alternative sources of road construction. We've commenced cold mix asphalt, which is still on a low scale. We are inviting you to come and invest in that. We are looking at rubberized asphalt so that we have less of our disused tires all over. In a nutshell, Lagos is where to be. This axis, which I've projected, Lekki, is just a part of the vast opportunities in Lagos. I enjoin you to please, let's take our chance. Let's dream the Lagos. Let's have the Lagos of our dreams. Thank you very much.
Do keep the applause going. Thank you so much. Very, very important sector there. Ladies and gentlemen, we move on to agriculture. And representing the Honorable Commissioner for Agriculture, Ms. Abiola Olusanya, is Dr. Rotimi Fashola. A round of applause.
Good afternoon, Mr. Governor, Mr. Deputy Governor, members of the investor family, and the entire team. Good afternoon. For agriculture, we all know that Lagos is the largest in the state, in the country, with 22 million people, but we have the smallest land mass. Therefore, it's important for us to maximize every land that we have, as well as to look at the opportunities we have in all the sectors. So we are the marketplace for the state, for the nation at large. Everybody brings food to Lagos. To organize our market, we need to have an organized system for it. And that's why we're looking at, the next slide, please. We're looking at the hub. We have the central logistic hub where we have an organized market system that sits on a 200-hectare land. The hub has all the storage facilities, the processing logistics, and it's a place where we grade the consumption, we grade the food items that come to the state, and we regulate the quality. It's a place where we have the first-tier system of handling foods that come to Lagos. It's an opportunity for our investors to partner with us for the scaling and completion of this hub. The first phase of the hub should be completed and commissioned by the end of this year. It's in Ketu in Ekpe. It's a 5-year project that we have, which is going to cost about $150 million. It's a place where we have food wastage to be reduced by 50%. It's a place where we have price regulation because we need to have a price stability to a very large extent. And it is a place where we can guarantee the quality of food that we bring to Lagos. And it is a place that we now have a major distribution to the next year. We can go to the next slide. So it's, like you see, it's a development financed arrangement, and Lagos State had started with its own phase, which is the first phase that we're starting, and then the second phase can be partnered by investors. From this, we move to the second tier system, which is this next slide, which is the market hub. That the Lagos mid-level produce hub is where the consumer relates directly with the sellers. And it is a hub where we have all our aggregators, all our market sellers that we've identified that we can come together for a standardized operation with a price mechanism and a wholesomeness. It has a dry storage system. It has a cold storage system. So food perishability is reduced and wastage is reduced as well. We have the first one, which is the Idioro Market Hub that had been completed and is already in operation. We have 5 more that are ongoing, which is the Agege, Abule Ado, Ikeja, Ikorodu, and Abule Ado, and there are 5 of them. And the cost is about 30 billion naira. It's an 18-month program that it is. In terms of energy, we have an energy regulation because it's on a green energy system. It has a job creation. Right now, there are about 100,000 jobs that will be created directly. 250,000 jobs will be created indirectly. It's compliant and accountable because all transactions are done through a known platform and already an identified platform system that we're going to use at the hub. Next slide. It is a process that will take about 18 months to build. All the 5 locations had been identified and already under construction. The idea is to actually have more of those hubs because they are the second-tier market system that interface directly with all the consumers. And they are the ones that the consumer, we can always have a price mechanism. I wouldn't want to use the word price control, but it is a price-determined market. And it's the market system that deals with quality and quantity and wholesomeness. So we have the standards for all that are going to be coming there to sell, and it is an avenue for more across the state, across the local governments of the states that we need to have. Now, even though this is our flagship, we are equally on that Itoiki Ekpe axis, having to have production into hydroponics, into greenhouses, high-valued vegetables, high-value crops that can equally come into our second-tier markets. So even though we are talking about the markets because of the largeness of our population, we are not neglecting production in any form. Of course, because, I mean, you know that we are the fish center of the state and of the country. So we have a lot of activity in fish, in the fishery system as well as in the poultry system. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Moving right along, ladies and gentlemen, now we're going to have the special advisor on climate change and, of course, the secular economy. Please, a warm round of applause for Mrs. Titilayo Oshodi.
Good morning, Mr. Governor, Mr. Deputy Governor, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here. Thank you once again, HC, for inviting us. So I'm going to run through because Mr. Governor has practically just given me 5 minutes. And even though this is something that we had to work overnight, but you know, we're a young startup. The Office of Circular Economy and Climate Change is a young startup. So we're really hungry to get people to see what opportunities are available in this space. And so every opportunity that we get, we jump on. Well, we've just come back from Abuja on the Earthshot Prize because that's another opportunity for us to show. And also just to be able to say that circular economy has been positioned, and it is right now the next frontier. And we need for our investors and people to latch on and get more understanding about what is evidently and clearly there within that space. So if you take a look, okay, so this is, can you take us to the next? There are 2 presentations, and we're not going to be able to do this. Even though I'm going to have the person, we've started conversations on this, and it's a clean cook stove initiative, but it drives to the area of capturing data, carbon credits, and being able to trade in the carbon market. But that's quite a bit of an advance, and I think we're just going to floss over that. I'm going to have my colleague come and do that shortly. But the other slide is the one that you could help me present. And just a quick overview. The Office of Climate Change and Circular Economy is working from the angle of using circular economy as a tactic to address climate change issues. Just understanding that we are not as industrialized as the global north. However, we are a highly generative waste society. And so understanding that our resource lies in the waste that is generated. Also, for the past 7 months, we have been seeking for some form of insight and data that can help us in operationalizing or sort of just getting understanding of what is required in terms of demand and supply. But we then decided that I think that it would be better for us to run a pilot and try and make it as strategic as possible. We chose a correctional facility in Idiaraba. And a couple of indicators will be nipped, you know, in the journey that we have had so far at the Idiaraba Correctional Facility. First and foremost, it's a girls' correctional facility. The initiative is called Leave No One Behind, which is clearly one of the indicators and nodes within the Sustainable Development Goals, right? And then we had started this project since April and into August. And what have we done? 3 things that we try to achieve. Number 1, through our pilots or through our initiatives, we want to address clean air. We want to address clean energy. We also want to address waste management, because even within the development plan, even within the climate action plan, the three sectors that are essentially pivoting is energy, transport, and waste management. So at the correctional facility, first and foremost, understanding that we need to get people to be aware, so we're driving education. So we have trained the girls to have knowledge of how to convert their waste into useful products, like usage of interior decorating items, accessories, fashion accessories, art pieces, and so they have been able to achieve that, and if you see that, some of the pictures that they have shown there. Also, we have collaborated with technology solution providers to establish a biodigester. Because it's a facility, they have their organic waste captured into a decomposing biodigester that can emit over a period of time methane that is channeled nicely into their kitchen. So they achieve biogas. They use biogas in being able to do the work that they do their cooking. And then the byproduct of the biogas, of the biodigester, is the natural fertilizer, the organic fertilizer. So you would see that this picture sort of just says quite a number of things that we have touched in terms of nodes, the areas of the SDGs that we have effectively achieved in the journey: collaboration, partnership, zero hunger, no hunger, the children also, getting some form of good education. Now, what are we really, pitching for? This is a project that has given us some form of data. We have simulated this project. We have the insights. We're developing a report. We have a business case that actually gives us insight into the cost of doing this within a community. So if we're able to do this and achieve this much effect and impact, how would you imagine it would be for vulnerable societies and communities? And I think from an ESG perspective, this is something that a lot of our private sector and organizations can begin to look at as a function. So just to quickly touch on, that ESG, just 2 minutes, I'm going to have Mr.
We're done.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. All right, moving right along, ladies and gentlemen, I have been looking forward to this technology. We cover technology on my show every Friday. Lagos State Ministry of Innovation, Science and Technology, Honorable Commissioner Tubosun Alake. My favorite guy, I love this guy. He loves technology so much.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Governor, Mr. Deputy Governor. Thank you very much. I think they'll cue the slides. So I just have 5 minutes. It will be quite difficult to encapsulate the technology space, but I'll try. We all are very familiar with Lagos State's position on the continent as an innovation capital. Lagos State seeks to deepen that particular position by driving a catchment area for technology and innovation development. We're all very familiar with Yaba's status in Lagos as the home of innovative startups innovating across different sectors. And as such, we've identified an area in Yaba to continually drive the development of innovative startups, of technology development. In any innovation ecosystem, you need major players. Number one, you need academia, you need technology companies, you need the university and the university research and development circuit, and of course, you need government. And as such, the Kite Yaba project is envisioned to bring that quadruple helix of stakeholders together to drive innovation outcomes. The Kite Yaba project will contain a mix of enabling infrastructure, the stakeholders in technology, that's government, academia, and technology companies, Yaba is the home of majority of the startups in Lagos State. And as such, we've identified a location, call it our own mini Silicon Valley, to geometrically increase the output of innovation in Lagos State. In the Kite Yaba area, there will be availability of infrastructure, hardware labs, co-working spaces, and office spaces for the development of technology in Lagos State. At any point in time, you will note that the figures for inward venture investment into the Nigerian technology ecosystem, at least at last count in 2023, was around $600 to $700 million. 85% of that inward investment comes to Lagos. And so the government has decided to provide more of an enabling environment for the development of these innovative startups. The more we innovate, the more investments we can draw in, the more enabling environments we provide, the more startups can mushroom and solve a lot of the problems. As such, the Kite Yaba project we envision is a public-private partnership project where Lagos State brings in the land as its equity, together with private sector players, can drive the enabling infrastructure in Yaba, the availability of high-capacity fiber optic cables, hardware makerspace labs, co-working spaces, office spaces, and of course, the enabling government environment where you will have the ability for new technology companies to register their businesses very quickly. They can also have hand-holding services for application of all their permits across the different government sectors. So there would also be the Office of Business Support Services at the Kite location. So think of it as our own mini Silicon Valley where we are enabling the startups and we are enabling investments into the startups to geometrically increase. I am available after this presentation for questions if you have. The next project, real quickly, is the Security and Operations Center for Lagos. Can we just quickly cue to the next slide? Okay, very good. So the Security Operations Center, as we've all witnessed, the CrowdStrike and Microsoft issue that happened over the past couple of days has left a lot of businesses reeling. And as such, we are looking to strengthen our cybersecurity position in Lagos. Most importantly, on a utility scale basis, where we seek to protect utility scale businesses. When you talk about your electricity companies, your water companies, I'm sure a lot of people now buy their electricity online. Now, what happens to all of these services when they are attacked by nefarious players? So the Security Operations Center seeks to be a utility scale protector, but at the same time, a small business protector for Lagos. Today, big banks in the room can afford cybersecurity services. But how about the small businesses that are taking in people's data on a daily basis? That needs to be protected. And as such, the Security Operations Center, on a public-private partnership basis, will seek to protect utility-scale businesses to continue to improve our quality of life, and of course, the small businesses that service us every day. Because it is very important that they are also protected and they continue to serve us. As such, the Security Operations Center, we believe, in partnership with cybersecurity companies on ground, will be able to protect that. We intend to also pass policy around the Security Operations Center to drive adoption of cybersecurity services at the small and medium service level. Thank you very much. I think that's my time.
Good stuff. Round of applause for the Home Commissioner for Technology. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've heard from, what's the analogy? All the players on the team. It is time to hear from the coach. It's time to hear from the manager. I'm going to give these gentlemen some time to set it up. The individual who is behind the innovative team's agenda, who is going to be addressing you. He is our host. He's the reason why we are here. Yes. They're putting the podium together. You've heard a whole lot today. Technology, infrastructure, agriculture, energy, and how all that puts together to invite all the necessary investment that's going to come into Lagos State. And we're going to be hearing a whole lot more. Remember, there is, of course, the ACES 3.0 that is going to be taking place tomorrow and Friday. That is the prelude for everything that's going on. And I can see Mr. Governor astutely going through his notes, and we're getting our microphone ready. So again, Lagos State, the hub. Also, we heard from transportation, no, not just transportation, also tourism, right? Tourism as well. All right, getting the microphone ready. Indeed, indeed. And so look, investments in Lagos State, the hub, commercial capital of Nigeria. Okay, we're ready? All right, ladies and gentlemen, you got to stand up. Round of applause as our host is about to address us, the executive governor of Lagos State, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu.
The clouds are fading,
give us some remarks.
I see the sun rising again, but I still see something else. I see your great
Please keep the applause going as the governor comes forward.
It's a new city.
And he has all the time in the world. I dare not step anywhere here to tell him about time. And speak as much as
fury of yesterday to fade in a car that
I've been paying a lot to have kept through to here. Because, you know, he's prime time news presenter at 11. Please sit down. Please sit down. Let's give him a round of applause, too. It's interesting to see that he actually can leave his own comfort zone in our eyes and come and compare us here. And so watch out for what will be your own takeaway from this investment summit here this afternoon. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Deputy and my entire team, I want to, on your behalf, thank everyone that has made out time to be here this Wednesday morning into afternoon. We know how precious your time is. We know how important, you know, your allocation of very scarce resources, which is time, how important it is to you. But it's because you believe that you're in an environment where when you identify real partners, it can only be one positive connection coming out of it, which is Lagos State being a partner. It can only be that we're all trying to build, you know, a better environment and a better society that eventually will transform and improve the business environment that we have, and by extension, also de-risk, you know, whatever are the issues you probably have. Also to listen to us, and we also listen to you. This morning, I came in, but I was meant to give an opening comment, which is certainly not important, given the fact that I've sat down for almost an hour and a half, 2 hours now, and each of the cabinet members that have been asked to come forward, they've all been struggling to keep their jobs, because that's what I found out, that they're all struggling to ensure that they can speak for 5-10 minutes so that at least their jobs will not, in one form or the other, you know, be impacted. But for me, it's really to sit in and to take everything, you know, on, and to thank our partners, you know, Sterling One, and all of our collaborators, you know, on this journey. It's clear that we can't do it alone. It's clear that even with the best of intentions, you know, we don't have the resources, we don't have all of what it will take for us to continue to drive this nation state, I dare say, you know, this city state that we call Lagos, to be able to drive it alone. And so that's why at every opportunity that we have, we must understand and realize that we're all in it together. We're just, you know, the same coin, we're on two different sides of the coin. You know, in seminar, you know, climate, you know, government usually create almost everything. But we realize that, you know, in our own environment, we've been challenged on a few, you know, there are resource issues that we know, there are infrastructural issues, you know, and we're not going to, you know, pretend that we don't have those issues. But even with the very difficult terrain that we find ourselves, you know, businesses continue to be very, very resilient. Our citizens continue to take it on, and we're beginning to see that the environment is getting even a lot, you know, in some sort better than what we envisaged. Yes, we still have, you know, all of the issues around currency fluctuations, and we have, you know, challenges around interest rate or exchange rate. But it's not only, peculiar to us alone. I've gone around in recent times. I've also done a lot of travels, and you really beginning to understand that leadership actually is at a difficult call right now. There's a whole lot of, difficult, decisions that leaders need to take, and it's only when we all sit together like this and we hear ourselves that we can indeed solve those problems. So I've listened to some of the points and some of the opportunities that have been, expressed here this morning by my colleagues. It's certainly not exhaustive. There are several other areas that they never mentioned because of time constraint. But I think it's important for me to just tiptoe some of them once again. I think Professor Abami came forward, and he talked about our very audacious, 30-year development plan, which was something we conceived in 2022, post-COVID, and we said to ourselves that, never again must we be able to sit back and let this kind of, global shocks happen in our environment. And we said we're going to come up, with a plan that will certainly will outlive us. We will certainly not be in government in 2052, but we said we're going to be audacious. Let's set up a plan that will be nimble and will be a plan that is flexible enough that other governments and other leaders can come and retweak, remove whatever it thinks that we have not thought of through in 2035 or in 2040, but also add on and work with the things that we've said. And it was clear to us that part of the things that Lagos, will certainly be by 2052 is that Lagos will become one of the human capital center of the world. With the population that we see, we will become, thank you very much, we'll become a provider of skills that will be needed all around the world, be it in Africa, in other parts of the world. And we need to begin to provide, structures, for that to happen. We need to begin to provide policies and programs, for that to happen. And one of the things I will say to you very clearly is that, for example, we're increasing the number of tertiary institutions that we have that are providing for the work of the future. From one that we met, we have 3 now, and we're actually also providing before the end of the year to have another university. We realize that knowledge, skills, information is critical for that future of work, for that global, play that you must be able to play. Let Lagos, take a critical role. We also said that infrastructure is important. Infrastructure, like I said, human capital is infrastructure, which is soft, but we also realize that we need hard infrastructure for you to be resilient, for you to be competitive, for you to have a place. If they say that your population will be so numbers, and you will be that environment. So we have all of that work out in a plan. But in that same plan, which is what health was talking about, we need to also be able to build a resilient economy that can absorb shocks. Shocks and unplanned, disruption are things that COVID have also taught us. And we said that we need to be able to leave behind us a very, very robust, engaging document that, you had advised us to also go and read. So it's a life document. It's a document that will continue, to reflect, and to challenge, successive government. But in the area of real opportunity in the health sector, there are new infrastructures that we're building. You had mentioned the cancer center opportunity. Some of our providers are here, partners that are here in this room. But beyond even that, we're also building the biggest pediatric hospital. We're building another, first-class renal health facility, and that will be in Ojo. We're building that will be also the biggest mental health, rehabilitation hospital, also in Lagos. Because these are some of the challenges that we know will continue to show itself up. So we need to build those hard infrastructure, and have, the soft infrastructure in terms of people to be able to man those places. So when some of these things do happen, we also need you people to work with us, not only to equip the place, also to be able to have a plan where those infrastructures, can become a place where all of us can go into. People never want to talk about mental health issues. It's real. It's amongst us. It's something that we need to be able to provide for. Rehabilitation centers, and rest. And we're building ones. What's the capacity? Over 1,000 beds. And the structures are coming out, and they're coming out well. it's part of the future that we see. And it's part of the things that makes, the city, livable. We're building a pediatric children's hospital that will be the biggest in sub-Saharan Africa. It's also because of the population that we see. We are inheriting an hospital that is almost 80 years old. The minimum we can do is to build another facility that will be 10, 15 times that size. And so these are some of the things that we're doing. Our tertiary health facility now, which is LASUT, we pride LASUT as the foremost, the biggest, tertiary health institution that we know on a daily basis. People come from different parts of the country, at 6 o'clock in the morning just to be able to receive healthcare facility at LASUT. And LASUT also, it's been very innovative, in the way in which it combines that also with the private sector. And so we see a lot of opportunity in the health space. And the one that I insisted that you should mention is on the health insurance thing. Everywhere in the world, that is how you have used private equity. You've used private sector funding to galvanize funding into health. And the kind of numbers that we're seeing, if all of us participate in the health insurance scheme, we'll see growth from as small as 5-10 billion. In the next 10 years, we could see 500 to 1 trillion, growth in our health insurance scheme alone. And that will become, achievable if all of us in this room, if all businesses see that they have a role to play. It's like all of us will not get sick at once, but if we have, a capitation system where all of us continue to provide into a pool that can help both the public health institutions, the private health institutions, people will begin to de-risk, that sector more. And that's why we put forward this health insurance. And I'm believing that, with the communication that will be coming out from the Ministry of Health, all of us will be players, in this industry. Thank you. It's one of our partners that started our clapping session. So don't worry, we're together on this. On tourism, I go around and I realize that, quite frankly, if you have 183 kilometers of no shark-infested, clean, Atlantic coast shoreline, we have not taken full advantage of it yet. Different places that people go to and just to, suntan and to sit and to watch, water just flow in from the beach, and we have not been able to take the full opportunity of ours. 183 kilometers, of clear beach line. If you go to Halfa Beach, that's just starting of it. Go towards the Badagry Beach, you see the serenity and amount of, beauty that we can turn those places into. And that's what the PAMSEC was trying to also explain to us, that there's a lot of investment that we can make in the tourism space. There's a group of investors now that we have put together, and we said that we want to put a clear, investment plan on the Lashe corridor. We're hoping that they can actually do what they said to us they're going to do, because we're using them as a test case in which we're giving them about 250 hectares, of beach line investment. And they said it's going to be a site and service. They're going to be putting about $100 million to $150 million investment, into that corridor, where they can build, a world-class tourist destination. We've given them the opportunity. We're hoping that they can create it. So in similar ways, if you are also, looking for such, we said, what is in a dead asset? A land is a dead asset. It's only when we put it to use that it can become a real asset. So let's think through these 183 kilometers. What part of it do you see opportunity that you want to take up? And talk to us. Let us see your investment plan. Let us see the monies that you can show us that you have, and we'll give you all the access. We'll give you, all the permits, that you require to make those investments and for people to come. We want to make this place a destination for people to come in, relax, and make, commitments by enjoying the serenity and the hospitality of Lagos. Lagos is actually an extremely very hospitable environment. We've gone to other areas where they are not as nice as we are. We're very nice people, but we need to be able to attract more investment and more investors in the tourism space. But as a government, what are we doing? We're going to be selecting or setting aside the month of November, for example, and we're starting with this year, where in the entire month, we just want to flourish around tourism. Let us see our arts people flourish. Let us use, when we finally open, our J. Rando Center and shut down the whole of, Onikon, and let us just turn it to a pedestrian zone where a Ateropolis, which is a festival of arts, culture, drama, will just take for the next 7 to 10 days in the month of November. Let's see how our fashion and twist and our fashion industry will use that time, to sell the fashion industry in our environment, food, entertainment, everything. Let us all come together in that month. Let us see ArtX and other art exhibition. Let them, let people worldwide know that in November, if you talk of art, if you talk of, creative mind, think of Lagos. That's the kind of thing we want to do. And we're starting in this month of November. The PAMSEC, did not explain it well, but we're hoping that once we get it right, more and additional investments, will come in thereafter into Lagos, and it becomes a destination that all of us will be proud of. But I agree, we cannot continue to talk less about it. I was just explaining to the Deputy Governor that we also need to make additional resource availability for Badagry, because it's one place that we need to not only preserve, we need to also be able to, put additional government resources there so that we can actually attract a lot of diasporan, investors, a lot of diasporan tourists that actually want to come into Badagry and Badagry corridor. And one final thing on tourism is government, we're making a commitment that government will continue to support, practitioners in that sector. We're training and paying, support of government. We've done that for a few thousands of people, around 6,000-7,000 people we've trained, we've supported them. We want to do more. And that's the kind of thing that we're planning, to push in the tourism space. Power continues to be a conversation that we know that there's a lot of investment that is required. The final notes, our House of Assembly members are also here. Once they give us the final electricity bill, which will unwind and give, a clear direction, for our own energy transition agenda. Honorable members, please let's clap for them. They will give us the bill very soon. We can completely domesticate and share with you, part of the things that the Commissioner for Energy has talked about. And it's a clear document in which we will be able to see your journey for making additional investment in the power sector. We cannot continue to talk about it more. Yes, we know that, with the current space, quite a decent amount of energy coming in from the grid stays in Lagos, but there's still a lot of opportunity. There's still a lot of off-grid, clean energy that we need to bring into the system. And those are the kind of opportunity that we believe these documents or this law will bring, will give to that sector. Please, so with the ministry, the commissioner is here, we can still get additional investment, from that. On public transportation, that's also one area, and if we dare say that we've made sufficient inroad, but there's still a lot of investment and there's still a lot of opportunity that we need to make there. Like the slide showed, almost 90-something% of our travel journeys still happens on the road. That cannot be the best efficient way in which we can distribute, public transportation. We want to utilize more of the natural waterways that nature has given to us. 1/3 of Lagos is water, by the way. So we need to be able to, ensure that our citizens trust and they believe that public water transportation is safe. And I'm standing in front of you and I'm confirming and I'm assuring you that our public water transportation is equally as safe as our road transportation. And we're not just saying it, it's because we've also made investment, deliberate investment there. If you go to Laswa, we have a full command and control center for the waterways alone. A full command and control center in which they have CCTV cameras in different locations looking and monitoring, our waterways. Problems we'll have on the waterways are people that are not complying with the rules regarding waterways. The time in which you are not meant to carry passengers and ensuring that your passengers have life jackets at all times. The moment you can comply with those two things, we can assure you that it is extremely, extremely safe. So we need to push a lot of our passengers on the waterways, and we are doing that. Early, in the month of June, we just commissioned additional 15 ferries into the public transportation in the waterways, where we're starting a project with the World Bank called Omieko. It's about a 400 million euro investment in which we'll be buying a lot more electric, driven ferries. We're building a lot more terminals and jetties, and the private sector can come in and partner with us for, waterways transportation system, because we need to take 20-25% of our people using the waterways. From here to Ikorodu on the road will take you an hour and a half. If you go by waterways, 45 minutes you are in any part of Ikorodu. So there's no better means, in terms of doing it than for us to use, our water corridor. The rail is around, so I saw some comments around that what is happening to the red line, when are we going to, start moving passengers? People forget that when we also commissioned the blue line, it took us about 7 to 8 months before we can go commercial, full commercial. Full commercial. In Abuja, federal government, how many years it took them before they can go commercial? So, ours is still 6-7 months. After the commissioning of a project, there's a lot of testing and retesting that you need to do. There's a lot of safety, and ensuring that you've crossed all the T's and dot all the I's before you can open it up to the general public. But the good news is that they've actually started a lot of the testing. You saw on social media that the red line has started moving. So we'll continue to move without even charging. So if you want to go on it free now, talk to Lamata. They will arrange for you like we did with the blue line for a very long time. People were moving up and down. You can start moving on the red line as well, up and down, but at measured and at intervals. Lamata is here, and they will tell you the times in which you can fly. You can test on it, but it's still the test period, they're still conducting, and maybe later in the year, the full operation. I hear sometime in September, the full operation, because once you are charging people and they are paying, there should not be stories at all. So I'm sure that's really just what there's. But it's not just that. It's about additional investment that will require in the rail infrastructure. On our own, we have chest out of 6 rail projects we've completed, or we've commissioned 2. Even if they don't clap us, we try small. In the same government, we've done 2, and there's a plan that we want to start a 3rd one. So what we're saying is, for you, the private sector, use our model. We have all of the very detailed investment study that we've done. Use our model to ask us, to work with us, and we can make, an investment environment a lot, easier on you. There's a lot more, profitable corridors that are still in the basket for investments to happen. And even the ones that were built, we're saying that we also want to concession them. We don't want to remain in business as being the one running it. A private sector person can come and take over the blue line, can come and take over, the red line, and run it profitably, and we just stay by side and we just watch. Those are the kind of investments, that we're talking about. And finally, even on the road infrastructure, the lady forgot to mention that towards the end of the year or first quarter next year, we'll be seeing over almost 2,000 new high-capacity buses that we're bringing in again on a PPP model. And so these new buses are reflective of the energy transition. They will all be either CNG or electric vehicle, buses. So that will also reduce, the fuel emission and the greenhouse emission that we all talk about that we don't want. And so it will probably just make us a bit more, climate change compliant city, given our size and our population. And you saw recently that we also just signed, another partnership with another car manufacturing company to bring in about 5,000, taxis, and Uber-type SUVs into the system, which also will be both electric vehicles and CNG buses. My communication to you here is we still have room for others. The fact that we have signed 5,000, we have the capacity for 50,000. We have the capacity for 100,000. This is Lagos. So please don't get scared of the fact that the doors are not closed to anybody. The same place where the 2,000 are coming, if you see it, we'll look for a dedicated route and a corridor for you. You can still make those investments, happen. There's still a lot of space for us for additional investments to come in the public transportation space. I'll probably just round up so that others also can have a space. On hardcore, infrastructure, the roads and bridges that we're doing. The special advisor, talked about Omu Creek, which in itself will be a major, game-changing road, bridge and road infrastructure that we're building. But there are other ones that we're also building to also ease and decongest, the city. The Ojota link bridge that we're doing, from Odoyalaro all the way towards Okpebi, we believe, will enhance and improve, public transportation and mobility right around the city. There's another one, in Ifako Ajayi, which we call, Abiola Onigemo Road and Bridge. This is not for the islanders alone. We need to be able to touch all of our citizens around the city. There's another one in Obafemi Dada in the Limosho area. These are massive, massive road infrastructure that we're building with bridges, with connectivity, and they are connecting 3-4 local governments together. It's all in a bid to reduce congestion and to reduce travel time, within the city. And these are some of the things that we believe will enhance, those investments that we're asking for and those additional conversations that we see. Agric, I think the job is cut out. We are very serious about food security. The hub that we're building is not only the first in sub-Saharan Africa. In fact, it's a model that the nation is also trying to copy. And you can see those pictures that you see are real pictures. About 5-6 of the verticals are out already. And we want to be able to not just, secure the city, also feed our citizens. Also feed our citizens. And food, like any other form of security, is also a security form. And so we want to be able to, use our food security initiative to be able to ensure that, cost of food, which everybody's complaining about now, government can bring them down considerably once we're able to remove incident of middlemen, cost of, perishable goods, cost of transportation, which are the major reasons, which are the major causes of, hype in food prices. So once we're able to work with our other states that are in the food basket region, Niger State, Kwara State, Nasarawa State, Kebbi State, and we can offtake a large amount. What it means is that there's guaranteed supply from the producer side, and we are the user on the consumer side. So we can negotiate a lot more, knowing fully well that they have a play out and they have a payout and they know where it's coming from. So it will come ex-stock into our warehouses and it becomes distributable and will bring down the total cost. And the model we have built in Idioro, which is where everybody can go into shop, we're building 5 concurrently in different parts of the city, right now as we speak. And by the end of the year, 2-3 of them should also be ready, so that we can move from the major food hubs to the middle markets, and we can see investments, as a means in which, and we went to, where did we go to in Paris the other day? Rogis, exactly. It's been on for 60, 65 years. It's a kind of model, that we have, where between 2 a.m. and 6 o'clock in the morning, a lot of transactions have gone on, and by the time you are waking up at 7 o'clock, there are fresh tomatoes, there are fresh vegetables in different nooks and crannies, of the city. That's the plan we have, and that's the kind of investment, we're trying to get into food, into food hub and into our food security. I think the lady from climate adaptation and climate change is to keep our job, because everything we're doing now is about around circular economy. We must have, an environment in which we're playing, Lagos will continue to say is a resilient city, and we must also play it. We're the only one that have, people at special advisor on cabinet levels that are talking to us around climate change, sustainable development goals, because we don't want to be left behind. We want to ensure that everything we're doing We're in tandem with bigger cities, massive cities around the world, and we're speaking the same language, so that we're not too far off from the kind of, initiatives that is happening, all around the globe. There are other, initiatives that we never even were not able to talk about. Tubosun came very passionately about the science and tech. But housing, for example, they never gave them an opportunity. There's a whole lot of housing projects, that we can do. In waterfront and housing, there's a lot of opportunity. Waste management, there are several opportunities. Although we have agreements that we have signed with a few people, we're hoping that those investments or those agreements will lead to boots on the ground, and we're beginning to see that our waste conversion, to energy and to other forms of organic, waste disposal will happen, in the months, and the days ahead. In all, there's still a lot of investment we can make in water infrastructure. There's an opportunity. There's opportunity in tech. There's a lot of new tech initiatives that we've seen around, but I tell you, there's still a lot more that we can do. In total, this city or this city-state or this tiny little state that all of us crowd in, it's a place where we all need to preserve, we all need to nurture, we all need to take care of. Because if we don't take care of it, the consequences of it could be severe on all of us. And that's why I want to leave us here with a sense of call and to urge us that the initiative that Sterling One and all of our other partners will be doing tomorrow and next tomorrow around initiative of philanthropy and getting our big donors, our big funders, our large investors to see that it's not about them today. It's not about what they make today. It's about commitments they make tomorrow and the next tomorrow and next tomorrow. Because that's how developments happen everywhere in the world. You see the Rockefellers, you see all of them big names in the Ford Foundation in America. Those names are not in existence. What I mean by those names, the original names, are not there 200-300 years behind us. How would we want to be remembered 100 years from today? How do we want to be remembered 50, 100 years? Because we have the opportunity today to make those investments that will outlive us. So it's really not about us today. It's about the legacies that we leave behind. And that's why I talked about preserving the city that is so important to us, preserving the state that is so important to us today, and ensuring, that by 2090, 2095, it can continue to remain, a livable state, a livable city that all of us, wherever we are, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren will be proud that during our time we laid the foundation of these things. Everybody wants to go to Harvard. Everybody wants to go to Mayo Clinic in Rochester. These are things that people laid 70, 80, 100 years ago. That's why impact is important. But that's also why we need to be able to invest, into the future. You might not be able to realize all of the stakeholder profits today, but it's those investments, it's those commitments that builds nation, that builds cities, that builds the future that we're all craving, to be part of. I want to thank you all very much for being part of this. Thank you.
A round of applause for the Executive Governor. Mr. Governor, a round of applause. Pictures. We want to take a few pictures. Please want to call on the Honorable Commissioner, Deputy Governor, please, and the Permanent Secretary for the MCCTI as well to come take pictures. Deputy Governor, thank you so much for joining us. Dr. Obafemi Hamzat, you're welcome. Thank you, sir. Okay, up next, please prepare the presenting agencies. Please prepare. If you presented, please you join them on stage. Presenting agencies, that's right. Mr. Governor is so popular. It's so supposed to be in stages, but that's fine. Please, pictures, continue. See, our hosts have spoken. The agencies can leave, our partners now. ETK, Althea.
Think about it, how we take do against all odds we're moving, breaking boundaries and borders.
Chill for a moment, think about it, how we take do against all odds we're moving, breaking boundaries and borders.
Wahala no dey finish.
Members of the diplomatic corps. The members of the diplomatic corps. Diplomatic corps.
Wahala no dey finish, dem no fit see us finish.
Exco members. Exco members.
A greater legacy is rising. Rising. Something is changing. Something is shifting. A greater legacy is rising. Rising. Can't deny it. I think that I said you're right. Greater Lagos rising from the one more time. It's a new city being built with fresh steel with passion. We have
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. A round of applause to the Executive Governor of Lagos and the Deputy Governor of Stephanie Hansat. Thank you so much.
a greater Lagos is rising. Something is changing. Can't deny it. Can't deny it. Can't deny it. A greater Lagos is rising. I see it all around. Rising. Can't deny it. I remember the days of 1490. I remember the days of our suffering. Suffering and smiling. I was telling that day. Oh, we are
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll still be hearing from our partners as the Executive Governor takes his leave.
we know they fear us. We are resilient. We know they carry light. Now we gon' be Lagosians. We know they fear us. We are resilient. My fault. A greater Lagos is rising. Something is changing. I can see it's easy. Can't deny it. Can't deny it. A greater Lagos is rising. Rising. Can't deny it.
Hey, take a chill for a moment, think about it, how we take do against all odds we're moving, breaking boundaries.
All right, we'll still be hearing from our partners. We're going to get partner presentations. ETK, Althea, do get ready.
Wahala no dey finish. Them no fit see us finish. 22 million resilient souls. Nothing can break us.
Wahala no dey finish. Dem no fit see us finish. 22 million resilient souls. Dem no fit stop us.
All right, and also investors and commissioners, you should look out for an usher holding tags for your sector for directors to the allotted space to open and close some deals. So do take note.
I thank my maker, say I see today. The clouds are fading off, I see the sun rising again, but I still see something else. I see a greater Lagos rising from the one more time. It's a new city being built with fresh steel with passion. We have gone from the fury of yesterday to faith in a collective tomorrow. A greater Lagos is rising. Something is changing. Can't deny it. Can't deny it. Can't deny it. A greater Lagos is rising. I see it all around. Rising. Can't deny it. I remember the days of 14.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, please let's be seated. program is not over yet. Let's be seated because we still have to hear from our partners. All right, ladies and gentlemen, do take your seats. We still have to hear from our partners with their presentations. I believe ETK is here, of course, as is Althea. Alethea. All right, all right. So I've of course already heard from the MD and CEO of Sterling One, Mr. Abubakar Suleiman, on the shout out, of course, Peju Ibekwe, who is the MD of the One Foundation. I do want to call on the Managing Director of ETK, Mrs. Bolaji Shopolue, to come and give us a partner presentation. A round of applause as she comes to the stage. You're very welcome.
Good afternoon, everyone. I will stand on all protocols. Mr. Governor, thank you so much for the opportunity. Honorable Commissioner, thank you so much for everything that you've done to organize this day. ETK has been supporting businesses with their market entry and expansion plans across Africa for the last 14 years. So far, we have facilitated over $1.3 billion of investment in 34 different African markets, including Nigeria. We are very dedicated to supporting the Lagos State government with their trade and investment initiatives. And so, as someone who, on a personal level, is from Lagos State, as someone who is Awori Kitty Beo, is there anyone around? I am completely committed to making sure that we play a central role in the development of the region. Lagos is one of the largest subnationals, not in the continent, but in the world. And I'm sure you've heard several times before that it is also the 6th largest economy in Africa on its own. So we are completely committed to the cause, and we're excited to be part of this amazing day. So once again, without much ado, I just want to say thank you for the opportunity, and thank you to all of you for being here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Wouldn't be here without our partners. Thank you so very much. All right, up next, the Chief Operating Officer, Althea Capital, Mrs. Iwande Adeusi. Round of applause. Here she is. She makes her way to the stage. And don't forget, as the Executive Governor of Lagos State has already told you, ISIS 3.0 will be taking place tomorrow and the day after. So we're very happy to hear from our partners.
You be the breeze on me.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Mr. Governor. Good afternoon, Mr. Deputy Governor, and all distinguished guests. It is such an honor for Alethea Capital to be part of this inaugural Investors Roundtable. As a pioneer private equity and growth equity investment firm, we understand and are reminded from this event the power of collaboration and the immense potential that lies within Lagos State. The event serves as an opportunity to bring together leaders and investors and visionaries who are dedicated to creating a brighter future for our communities. Alethea Capital, we're very much a believer in the power of investment. Our mission is to drive sustainable development and inclusive growth across key sectors: gender equality, climate resilience, manufacturing, agriculture, access to essential services. These pillars are not just investment opportunities, they are foundations on which we build an equitable and prosperous society. So I'll just dive and just jump right through. As we embark on this journey together, let's remember the collective efforts have the power to create a lasting effect, an impact. Partnerships and collaborations that will be forged today will shape the future of Lagos. And we hope that we will seize this moment to innovate, invest, and inspire positive change. So we want to continue to commit to sustainable development and inclusive growth. We look forward to working with each and every one of you as we achieve the shared future vision of a brighter and prosperous Lagos. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of what has been a very, very engaging event. All right, I'm being directed to move the stage. Are we good? All right, for the vote of thanks, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Commerce, Cooperatives, Trade and Investment, Dr. Olugbemiga Ayola Aina.
Thank you very much. I think the day has been fast spent, judging by the last 3 hours of interaction. On behalf of the entire Lagos State Executive Council, ably headed by Mr. Governor himself and the Deputy Governor, for having come here to eloquently put together the case for Lagos State. Now, all we're trying to achieve is that we want to be the epicenter for investment as a sub-sovereign. We're trying to say Lagos should be the leading sub-sovereign economy in Africa. On that note, we are quite appreciative of all that have taken time to come and listen to us, especially members of the diplomatic corps, heads and captains of industries, permanent secretaries, top government functionaries, different investors from all ramifications and specialties. Without you, this particular forum would not have been possible. We quite appreciate you. We hope that we have just jump-started a journey that we walk together. Because one thing that is standing for us is that in terms of policy, we are going to be very consistent, and that is what we are noted for in Lagos. The indices are quite good, so I'm going to appreciate and encourage you to say, let us try and go beyond this session and close one or more deals. On that note, we are quite appreciative of your efforts. And also to appreciate all those people who have put this together, especially our partners, starting from Sterling One Foundation, also Alethea and ETK Consulting and Services, and the entire indefatigable members of the Ministry of Commerce, Cooperatives, Trades and Investments for putting in all your effort to make sure that we have a beautiful outing. We hope that this will be a continuous journey and we'll be calling on you at different stages of our existence. Thank you all once again, and I wish you journey masses to your different destinations. Thank you. God bless you all.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget ACES 3.0 is taking place tomorrow and the day after. That's the Africa Social Impact Summit. Also, we have to emphasize that there are deal rooms here if you want to, close some deals. There are a lot of representatives that will be waiting for you to speak on everything that you've heard if you're interested in any particular sectors. Also, we'll be having a tea break in the back of the room, so help yourself to some refreshments. And please do network. The deal rooms are located in strategic points around the hall. So do network, engage, and do have a lovely, lovely day. And don't forget, again, one more time, ACES 3.0 is taking place tomorrow and Friday, all through right here at the Echo Hotel. So we're looking forward to seeing you as well.
With a fresh bouquet on a lazy day, you be the breeze on me. Be sweet on me. You be the breeze on me. Be sweet on me. Soothe me, move me. Where you go, I wanna go. What you do, I wanna know. Set me, thrill me, touch me all over my skin. breathe on me. You be the breeze on me. You be the breeze here beside me. Be the breeze and satisfy me. Baby, stay right here and whisper in my ear. You be the breeze when I'm talking. Stop me when I'm walking. On my face, in my hair, you know where.